Hello and welcome to Mind Shifters Radio. I'm Tim Hayes. I'm your host for the first hour. And today is Tuesday, February 16th, 2021. As always, we're grateful to everyone who's joining us here today, whether you're listening live or through the archives, as we spend another couple of hours teaching and supporting people in using some of the most powerful, effective, efficient, and accessible tools I've ever encountered. These tools are available absolutely free at whyagain.org. If you go there and click on the red and white bullseye or the link in the upper left-hand corner of most pages, it says Start Here. It'll take you to a page where you can download and read Chapter 24 of Dr. Michael Ryce's book. The book is titled, Why Is This Happening to Me Again? And that chapter of that book is a narrative description of the primary tool in this work. That tool is called the Reality Management Worksheet or Wake Up Sheet. And it is a tool I've been using for over 16 years to improve the quality of my life, manage my emotions, improve my relationships, and basically turn every negative emotional state that I experience into an infallible guidance tool, part of an infallible system. And you can also download from that same page the actual tool itself, absolutely free. It's a PDF file. You just click on it, print it off, copy it, and use it as often as you'd like. You can also download a whole host of audio files of shows just like this one, where people have called in and been stepped through that process or given testimonials about how the application of that tool has improved their lives. You can also go to your app store and type in the 3 words HeartLand Aramaic Forgiveness and get access to a completely free and private app that contains that Reality Management Worksheet tool, an abbreviated version of that tool, and a copy of the Drag-on Klingon game, which is a wonderful way to introduce this tool to even younger audiences. There are a whole host of other tools available on that webpage. If you keep scrolling down, various worksheets, and we are here to entertain comments and questions about any of them that might be useful to you. We're also here with the commitment this year to work through the Course in Miracles and the workbook lessons that are laid out for one lesson a day for the entire year. And today is the 47th day of the year, and that lesson from the Course in Miracles workbook for today is, God is the strength in which I trust. All of creation, the flow of life, is the strength in which I trust. The commentary reads, if you're trusting in your own strength, you have every reason to be apprehensive, anxious, and fearful. What can you predict or control? What is there in you that can be counted on? What would give you the ability to be aware of all the facets of any problem and to resolve them in such a way that only good can come of it? What is there in you that gives you the recognition of the right solution and the guarantee that it will be accomplished? Of yourself, you can do none of these things. To believe that you can is to put your trust where it is not warranted. And when you do that, you justify fear, anxiety, depression, anger, and sorrow. Who can put his faith in weakness and feel safe? And yet, who can put his faith in strength and feel weak? God, the Creator, the flow of life and creation, is your safety in every circumstance. The voice of creation speaks for him in all situations, in every aspect of all situations, telling you exactly what to do to call upon the creation's strength and the creation's protection. There are no exceptions because God, the Creator, has no exceptions, and the voice which speaks for him thinks as he does. Today we'll try to reach past your own weakness to the source of real strength. 4 5-minute practice periods are necessary today, and longer and more frequent ones are urged. Close your eyes and begin as usual by repeating the idea for the day. Then spend a minute or two in searching for situations in your life which you have invested with fear, and dismiss each of them one at a time by telling yourself, God is the strength in which I trust. Now try to slip past all concerns related to your sense of inadequacy. It is obvious that any situation that causes you concern is associated with feelings of inadequacy, for otherwise you would believe that you could deal with the situation successfully. It is not by trusting yourself that you will gain confidence, but the strength of God is in you. The strength of God in you is successful in all things. The recognition of your own frailty is a necessary step in the correction of your errors, but it is hardly sufficient in giving you the confidence which you need and the confidence to which you are entitled. You must also gain an awareness that confidence in your real strength is fully justified in every respect and in all circumstances. In the latter phase of the practice period, try to reach down into your mind to a place of real safety. You will recognize that you have reached it if you feel a sense of deep peace, however briefly. Let go all the trivial things that churn and bubble on the surface of your mind, and reach down and below them to the kingdom of heaven. There is a place in you where there is perfect peace. There is a place in you where nothing is impossible. There is a place in you where the strength of the Creator abides. During the day, repeat the idea often. Use it as your answer to any disturbance. Remember that peace is your right because you are giving your trust to the strength of creation. So the lesson reads, God is the strength in which I trust. In Pam Grout's book, The Course in Miracles Experiment, chapter 47 is titled, I'm sorry, what? Question mark. She quotes Yvonne Orji, I've given God a big bag to fill because when you give him a small bag, it's like, you can do that yourself. Why bother me? Pam writes, the same voice that hired Bill Thetford and Helen Schuckman to write the course told Yvonne Orji, the Nigerian-American comedian who plays Issa Rae's friend, Molly, on HBO's Insecure, told her to take up comedy. Like Helen, she rolled her eyes. Comedy? I just finished a master's degree in public health. I don't do funny. I'm an immigrant. My parents expect me to be a doctor or a lawyer, maybe a pharmacist. But by then, Yvonne had enough experience to trust what Lesson 47 from the Course in Miracles, God is the strength in which I trust, or the dude is the strength in which I trust. This lesson promises his voice will tell you exactly what to do in all situations. And she trusted that, so she wrote a 5-minute comedy bit to use as her talent in a beauty pageant. That led to her animated stand-up work that led to the starring role on Insecure. That led to a contract for a new book, Bamboozled by Jesus, How God Tricked Me into the Life of My Dreams. As she says, the Holy Spirit sensed my doubt because right after he told me to do stand-up, I got a download from heaven. I grabbed a pen and a paper, and I wrote everything I heard as he dictated plans for my life. Over the years, Yvonne has developed a very intricate relationship with the voice. By trusting its advice, she found exactly what this lesson promises. She found a place in her mind with deep peace, a place that knows nothing is impossible. As she says, y'all, this comedy thing was his idea, and the reason I'm so good and so happy is because I know how God works. I have seen his M.O. so many times. I can be like, but I thought this was it. And God would be like, oh, that's what you thought. I've got the goods for you. Today, I'm asked to pick up my own goods in 4 5-minute practice periods. I'm asked to close my eyes, look at my fears, and dismiss each and every one. The dude, God, creation, is the strength in which I trust. So that's our beginning offering today on this Tuesday, February 16th, 2021. And we have plenty of time to entertain comments or questions about that or anything else we might have talked about in the past 10 years on Mindshifters Radio. Today's a Tuesday, so tonight we will have another support group. We're back to our usual format. You're welcome to join us if you wish. Our information about how to join us on Zoom for the group from 6:30 to 9 p.m. Central Time is available on the website mindshiftersacademy.org. And there's a separate page for the login information for Tuesday and for Thursday. And I'm not sure exactly what we'll do, but we'll probably go back to the Michael Singer work that we were in the process of completing. There's an 8-week course, an online course that was offered that we're sharing with the support group. And you're welcome to join us and or pass the information along to anybody that you think might be interested. Again, the information is available on mindshiftersacademy.org website, and the more the merrier, so pass that information along or join us yourself. The Mindshifter support groups they're the way that we extend and try to amplify the power of this work by including it in a community setting. And if we have the right filter on, if we're willing to look at things accurately, we understand that Michael Ryce has a quote, and it's an African proverb he likes to quote. If you want to go quickly, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. And there's just something that happens as we gather in a community, in a group setting, even on the Zoom, especially in person, but even on the Zoom call, where when we hear other people working on issues and we awaken to the idea that we're not alone and or we're keeping ourselves open as we're watching or listening somebody else work through their issues, we get insights into our own connections. We get our own issues will get resonated. We might get bored listening to somebody else talk, and that's a good topic for us to do a worksheet. We might get offended by something somebody shares if they share a political opinion, and that's just an excellent topic for another worksheet. We might get triggered to sadness if somebody talks about losing a parent, and that's just another great topic for a series of worksheets. And while these tools are very powerful for me to use on my own, in my own time, in the privacy of my own office or home, they are infinitely more effective and efficient when I practice them in a community setting. So feel free to join us and or pass the information along to somebody else. We are currently meeting on Tuesday nights and Thursday nights from 6:30 to 9 p.m. And as long as I'm mentioning that, I'll mention that we have a standing invitation out. If you have read a book, if you have a favorite author or public speaker or spiritual teacher that you think it would be of benefit for us to interview, give me a call at 563-999-3581 and press 1, or send me an email at tjh@mindshifters-academy.org. And I will consider reading that book or listening to that speaker and or inviting them for an interview, either on Mindshifters Radio or on the journeysdream.org/podcast platform. That journeysdream.org has now had, I've actually recorded 49 episodes. I think they've published 45, or they will by maybe 45 or 46 by the time the one for today gets published, if it gets published today. Upcoming episodes on that include Dr. Pat Ogden, who is the founder of the Sensory Motor Psychotherapy Institute, a return visit by Dr. Brian Ardis, who works with nutritional support for health challenges and mental health challenges, Bonnie Griffin, who is a postpartum doula, and Dr. Frank Urasek, who does acupuncture and works a lot with veterans and trauma, using acupuncture and qigong and herbal remedies. And Catherine Nicolai, who is a yoga teacher and is author of the book Nothing Much Happens, a book of wonderful stories for calming and relaxing and easing yourself into sleep at night. So as you can see from that little sampling, we are wide open to suggestions, anything that might be useful to people who are looking for holistic or alternative approaches to mental health challenges, or anybody that you can think of that does work similar to what Dr. Michael Ryce does. I was reading from Krishnamurti the other day about the essence of being able to see the truth as the truth, being able to see through the false. And most of the time when he's having discussions with people, when he was having discussions with people about this, as soon as he would say that, they would say, well, but then if I do that, will this happen, and will this happen, and will this happen? And his response would be something like, well, when you're hoping for something, whether it's positively or negatively, you're still projecting your thought into the future. And you might be able to succeed at acquiring something, but then once you succeed at acquiring it, then you have to be afraid that you might lose it. And so you're never going to have actual peace or actual truth when you're engaged in the process of thought. Thought, as David Bohm talks about it, is of the process of illusion. It is the very flawed process of mental gymnastics whenever it's applied to mental or emotional processing. You know, my thought might be just the thing I need to figure out why the car isn't running, or how to use a map to navigate on a journey. But it is not a reliable solution to any mental or emotional discomfort. Guy Finley likes to talk about how the vast majority of my mental and emotional pain is a direct result of the misapplication of the thought process. And so we're helping people learn a set of tools that can help us map out what we're doing with that thought process and its misapplication to create our mental and emotional pain, and then cancel all of that, put that aside temporarily, and tap into an intuitive guidance. Tap into the willingness to look at whatever's going on in my life below the level of conscious awareness. And that's what the Reality Management Worksheet process does, and that's why we're here. We're here to support people in understanding that this process is a life changer. And as I like to talk about, you don't need to be a creative genius, and you do not need years of training in order to get some rather powerful results from the use of these tools. We had somebody call earlier in the year and talk about stepping somebody through a worksheet, even though that person didn't have a worksheet in front of them, over the phone, and getting significant results. The person who was doing their processing got significant results in the very first worksheet that she'd ever done. It's the process, it's the tool, and the willingness to use it benefits. So our call-in number is 563-999-3581. If you call that number and press 1, we can have a conversation. We have 35 minutes left. I've been informed by Jeannie that she's otherwise occupied today, so the second hour today will be a recording. So if you have a comment or a question, now's the time to get it in. I'd be happy to entertain your comments or questions and or support you in working through a worksheet. There is still time for that. And in lieu of that, I thought I would mention that we have a whole series of tools that go beyond the Reality Management Worksheet. And if you go to that whyagain.org website and click on the red and white bullseye, it takes you to a page where you can download and scroll down to a whole host of worksheets. So the Reality Management Worksheet is just one of them. And if you've done a few of those worksheets and you want to go a little bit deeper, scroll down the page until you see the thing that says PowerPoint presentation and click on that. This is a PowerPoint created by Bill Cosentino in conjunction with Dr. Michael Ryce. And Michael Ryce talks about how this is the distillation of 35 years of his knowledge and learning about this worksheet process. And it's a 24.5-minute video that really talks more about the dynamics of how and why the worksheet process is as effective as it is. And you can watch it and watch it again and watch it again a week or two later and get even more out of it. There are all kinds of goals, links here for faster EFT tapping and what tools to use when. There's an apology tool, Aramaic 6 Keys to Life, the PDF format. There's a Beatitudes poster from the Laws of Living. There's a codependency worksheet. I just backed up to the Beatitudes. I think that JM's list of Beatitudes are just wonderful, powerful. I use them on a regular basis. When Dale Allen Hoffman talks about the Beatitudes, he talks about them as kind of a yogic practice. And the first 3 Beatitudes, instead of being, blessed are the poor, it's blessed are those who have a home in their spirit life. Blessed are those who make their home in the breath. So Dale Allen Hoffman talks about the first 3 Beatitudes as simple instructions for what to do whenever you're triggered to any kind of an upset. The first Beatitude boils down to breathe. Make your home in the breath. JM, who downloaded the Way of Mastery, got an interpretation of the first Beatitude that says, now is the ripe time. In this moment is the perfect time to make your home in the breathing unity, to bring your focus of your conscious awareness to your breath and have that be the focus of your attention. Now is the ripe time to make your home in the breathing unity and let the fertile soil of the queendom birth your clear guidance. Turn inside, ask to be shown. Now is the ripe time to make your home in the breathing unity and let the fertile soil of the queendom birth your clear guidance. Dale Allen Hoffman shortens that to just breathe. Beatitude number 2, the interpretation from JM is, restored are they who allow their inner pain to surface. They shall touch the place where love carries them to greater wholeness. Dale Allen Hoffman would say, feel it fully. Allow whatever wants to come up, let it bubble up. Breathe, feel it fully, and let it flow. The third Beatitude from JM says, having made soft what was rigid within, a new ripeness, a new potential shall bring renewed inspiration, and confident strength will flow through you. Breathe, feel it fully, and release it and let it go. Breathe, feel it, and let it flow. The fourth Beatitude from JM says, resting in their deeper longing, they shall feel the power of spirit move and carry them in the direction of their true fulfillment. So if I breathe, if I have any kind of an upset, and I turn the focus inside, focus on my breathing, keep the focus inside, feel whatever comes up in me, feel it fully, catch any resistance and release it. Let it continue to flow, and let it flow through me. As I rest in that process and continue to breathe, I will continue to tap into an internal wisdom. I will have a new connection to that internal wisdom, and inspiration and confidence will start to flow through me. As I continue to do that, the voice of the Spirit, the connection to that intuition, will carry me in the direction of my true fulfillment. The fifth beatitude says, restored in union with radiant love, maintaining that connection to the internal source, refusing to be distracted by a culture that tells me my pain or fear or negative emotion is caused by things outside of me. As I get restored to the mental, conscious connection to my internal source, that will begin to extend out from my heart center and bless others. As I continue, the sixth beatitude says, wise are they who are consistently restored in this way. If I continually turn inside, breathe, feel it fully, release it and let it flow through me, keep the focus inside and ask to be shown. If I continue to do that every time I'm triggered to an upset, I will become more and more wise. Like flashes of lightning, the Creator will increasingly reveal herself in the depth of my soul. If I turn to this process every time there's an upset, the seventh beatitude says, as I ripen in that wholeness, I become a channel for new creations. And I serve that same restoration for others as I extend the energy of creation, which has given rise to me, which connects me to all things. As I hold a conscious awareness of that, in spite of upsets, as I refuse to turn outward and blame, I ripen in the wholeness, in the awareness of my wholeness, and I can become a channel or a conduit for that energy to extend to others and for new creations. The next beatitude says, then comes the birthing power that forces you further from your old habits, that you may touch more deeply your true home in divine mystery. The essence of the Beatitudes is a yogic-like practice to breathe, turn the focus inside, feel fully whatever is arising within me, resist the temptation of the training of my culture to turn the focus outside and blame others, and breathe, feel it fully, release whatever comes up, and let it go. As I do that, my connection to an internal wisdom, to a source of inspiration, strengthens. And as I practice that process repeatedly throughout times of upset, my strength of connection to that internal wisdom grows, and my ability to be a conduit for that creative energy strengthens. So we are called in the Beatitudes to constantly return our focus to the breath, especially when there's any kind of an upset, to resist the training of the culture that wants us to believe that our upset is caused by people and things outside of us. And that's just the beginning. And we're told over and over again through these deep spiritual teachings that the more we do that, the easier the process becomes and the more proficient we get at it. Area code 847, you're in the air.
Hi, Dr. Tim. This is Cindy. How are you?
Well, hello, Cindy. Long time no hear from you. How are you?
Yes. I'm doing pretty well. So I just kind of popped in here, and at the beginning of what I popped into, I think you were giving a website that was Journey I didn't catch it anyway. I was looking for that.
Journey's Dream is a not-for-profit that's trying to help rewrite the narrative on mental health to one in which optimal health and well-being is possible and expected, and where mental health challenges become transformative. And so if you go to journeysdream.org and either click on the word podcast or type in /podcast, it will take you to a page where there's a list of interviews I've done for them over the past year. And these are a wide range of interviews for people with, whether it's integrative psychiatrists or yoga teachers or chiropractors that do phenomenal research on nutritional aids for all kinds of problems. And there are 49 of them that have been done. I think 45 of them have been released so far. And they're just podcast interviews. You can pull them up on YouTube, and then you can see the picture of, the video of me interviewing the person, or you can get it wherever you get your podcasts and just listen to the audio.
Okay, that's great. I'm actually getting my master's in social work, so I'm going to check this out, and then I assume it's okay. That's why it's here. I'm going to share it with other students and professors, and that's really neat.
Yeah, it's an idea about helping get more exposure for people who are doing holistic, functional medicine, integrative medicine approaches, and so they're expanding upon what the traditional allopathic training would be. And I think we've got 2, if not 3, integrative psychiatrists that we've interviewed. We've got some medical doctors that do targeted orthomolecular nutritional therapy. We have a functional psychiatrist who does all kinds of work with the gut biome and nutrition rather than just prescribing psychotropic meds. His name is Dr. Donald Raden, R-A-D-E-N. We interviewed the people from the Alternative to Med Center. One of the practitioners down there is a naturopath, Julia Bricks, I think her name is. And the list goes on.
Wow, that is good to hear, because I just myself I don't take any pharmaceutical drugs, but it is amazing, but not in a good way, to hear that I would say probably 98% of the U.S. population is on some kind of pharmaceutical drug. I don't know if that's true or not. Don't quote me on that, but there's a lot of people who are on something.
There are, yeah. I don't know if it's 98%, but it's a high percentage. And one of the things that we understand is that the older we get, the more likely we are to have our physician prescribe us medications, and sometimes multiple medications.
Yes.
So for those who are so inclined to find alternatives, it's good to have those resources readily available, and that's one of the things that Journey's Dream is trying to do.
Wow.
And
okay, that's a good thing. That's exciting.
And Journey's Dream, as a group, has taken Dr. Michael Ryce's work and created the Optimal Being program, and they've modified it so that, in their opinion, it's more palatable for the general population and or for corporate settings. But it's all based on Dr. Michael Ryce's work, the Reality Management Worksheet, the targeted journaling that he calls the Mind Shifter tool. All of those tools, not all of them, but many of them are woven into that work. And it all rose from people who had been exposed to Dr. Michael Ryce's work, trying to create something that might be more well-received in the corporate world. And then the Journey's Dream, and then the Journey's Dream group is the not-for-profit child of that original group.
Oh, okay. I will definitely look into that. And then I have another question. So I've been listening to you talking about the Beatitudes and things, and about kind of breathing when you are having upset. Because I've been feeling anxious the past probably week because I'm moving soon, and I'm feeling anxious about getting things done for moving. So I'm going to try some worksheets and some tapping and breathing to get rid of that, because it's not very helpful or productive.
Well, and also remember, the breathing needs to be a full, comfortably filling your lungs kind of an inhale, pause at the top, and then resist the exhale so it takes 4 to 8 times longer than the inhale. That will trigger the parasympathetic response and start to calm your whole system. If you take a nice deep breath and let it out quickly, that won't work. But if you slow the exhale, some people, suggest breathing out through a straw, or if you've got a little extra money, you might want to get the, there's a little necklace that they sell that, the name of it will come to me, where it's just a little decorated metal tube with some Japanese symbols on it. It's called the Shift necklace. And you take that full deep breath, you purse your lips, and you gently blow out through that metal tube, and it forces you to resist so that your exhale is longer and slower. And it's a great reminder. Sometimes people wear that necklace and just touch it as it's hanging either inside their shirt or outside their shirt. They don't even have to put it to their lips. It's just a reminder to breathe in that long, slow exhale way, which begins the relaxation process whenever you're triggered.
Okay, I will keep that in mind. Yes.
So where are you moving to?
I am moving to Knoxville, Tennessee, exactly 1 week from today.
All right. All right. Well, congratulations on the potential move, and I'm certain it'll be a wonderful new adventure in your young life. And are you going to school down there?
I am. I'm going to, yes, I'm going to Aurora University. I started out in person, and then COVID hit last year, and we got booted to remote. And what was my intention to go online anyway, but now I'm fully online, and I have an internship down there that I'm really looking forward to, that I know is going to be a good experience for me. So it's exciting.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, congratulations on moving forward in your life and your next new adventure. Is there anything else we can do to support you today?
No, I was just listening and thought I would raise my hand because I wanted to hear about that. Is it journeysdream.org? I did write it down.
Yep.
But I'm going to check that out. Okay. Yeah. No, I'm good. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, thank you for the call. It's great to hear from you, and good luck in your journey.
Thanks.
So we have 15 minutes left. Time for a question, a comment, an answer, a soliloquy. 563-999-3581. Call that number and press 1, and we can have a conversation. I was reading from the I was reading it from somewhere. I was reading from the translation of, or the interpretation, basically, of the Beatitudes from ACIM at wayofmastery.com. And just so you have an idea, I mean, some people may not know the Beatitudes, but the Beatitudes are from the New Testament, and it's reportedly one of the first public teachings that Yeshua gave. And in the New King James Version of the Bible, the first Beatitude says, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." And the interpretation that comes through ACIM is, now is the ripe time to make your home in the breathing unity, and the fertile soil of the queendom will birth your clear guidance. The second beatitude from King James Version says, "Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted." The interpretation from JM is, "Restored are they who allow their inner pain to surface. They shall touch the place where love carries them to greater wholeness." Third beatitude from the King James Version says, "Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth." The interpretation from JM is, "Having made soft what was rigid within, a new ripeness shall bring renewed inspiration, and confident strength shall flow through them." Beatitude 4 from the King James Version reads, "Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled." The new interpretation from JM is, "Resting in their deeper longing, they shall feel the power of spirit move to carry them in the direction of their true fulfillment." So hopefully there's just a little sampling of how a deep spiritual teaching that went from one language into another, etc., over the course of a couple thousand years comes down to us through the King James Version of the Bible with some very, to my eye and ear, obscure language and meaning. But when taken as a deep spiritual teaching in the context of people who study deep spiritual meanings, it makes very good sense. Whenever you're upset, whenever you have an anger, a fear, a sadness, a hurt, this is, oddly enough, right in line with today's Course in Miracles lesson. Whenever you've got an upset, it's a sure sign that you're trusting your own strength and that you have every reason to be apprehensive, anxious, and fearful. Because your 9-bit conscious logical mind can't even begin to comprehend the whole of creation. So take a breath, turn the focus inside, rely on the power that's beating your heart and keeping your breath moving even when you're not thinking about it and digesting your food, and ask that source, that powerful source, for inspiration, for guidance, for answers, for intuition, for clarity. It's far more likely to be fruitful than relying on the same conscious logical mind that often forgets where you put your car keys or what was on your calendar for today, even though you just looked at it 5 minutes ago. If they're home in their spirit life, then the way the King James Version of the Bible says, "Blessed are the poor in spirit." And I just saw somebody in the chat room was asking, JAYEM, Jayem, is John Mark Hammer. And he's the one who channeled The Way of Mastery from 1994 to 97. And so, in a sense, he's the vehicle through which The Way of Mastery as a book has come into our possession. Susan, I turned on your microphone.
Hi. I love hearing those Beatitudes juxtaposed beside each other. Have they been written in a sort of like a parallel thing with one version right against the next and the next? You've got them all there, and I'm sure I could find them, but being basically lazy would be wonderful to have them already done. Do they exist somewhere, or is that something I can send you the
PDF of that I transcribed from the DVD that JM has.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, they're I want to share them with my daughter, who, I'm pretty, she would find those extremely helpful. Yeah, thanks.
Well,
that would be
great. The thing about it is, to my way of thinking, the only way someone like your daughter would find them useful is to have a little bit of the explanation about how these have been coming through bits and pieces of taking the ancient Aramaic and translating it directly into English, rather than just thinking somebody's making stuff up.
Right.
And so, we have things like on the whyagain.org website, Michael Ryce has his version of the Beatitudes, and you can get that as well. And he says,
I have that.
Okay, a three-part word meaning a latent neural structure implanted by the Creator in you will become your conscious possession, you who, and then the Beatitudes are a series of, do this, and you get direct conscious possession of this gift.
Yeah. Changing the subject, do I sound staticky to you?
Yes.
There's been a lot of static on this call. Okay.
And do I sound staticky to you?
Called
Cindy.
in just now.
Cindy. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Big dude doing for
of
her.
Course.
What a great thing to be. Go ahead.
Well, of course, when I'm just talking to myself, I don't hear the static. But when we had our first caller and she was staticky, and now I have static on with you, I'm thinking, I wonder if the entire connection today is all staticky. So.
Yeah, I think it may be.
So, what were you going to say?
I already forgot, but I do have a question.
All right.
And I could certainly try this, but I have had a recurring dream, variations on a dream, and I'm wondering if they don't cause upset. I'm curious. Can you do a worksheet on a dream that you're just curious enough? I suppose you can. I mean, why not? But
sure.
I haven't.
Yeah.
It just occurred to me.
And
And
the primary thing I would do is I would just take either the emotion I felt on awaking or the thought I had on awaking and use that as a starting point for the worksheet. Because as you say, as we talk about, I can start at any point in the worksheet. I can start at the beginning and work my way down, or I can recognize that I have a recurring thought, or I can recognize that I have a negative emotion. And with either one of those, begin a rather productive process of exploration.
Right. Good. A second thing, unrelated, is I just watched The Dig. It's new on Netflix, and it's about a self-trained, family-trained man who discovers an amazing relic and causes a big stir in England. And this is a true story, but the man himself is like the living embodiment of truly a true human being in Michael Ryce's terms. And you mentioned this de Botton interview yesterday. I listened to half of it yesterday and found it hard going because he'd start going and then he'd be interrupted, and I kept wanting to hear what he had to say. And he was very gracious, but his discussion kept getting rerouted, and I think by half of it I got enough of it that I kind of gave up on it. Because of our intensive, we're listening to so much Zoom stuff and replays of things that if it isn't really easy, I give up. But love and the relationship of a good, loving relationship being kind of discovering who that person is and allowing for a lot of margin of freedom around the relationship, giving up romantic ideas, not expecting a perfect person who will fulfill all your wants and needs, getting rid of the whole romantic idea. I've been tempted to send it to a grandson who's looking for a girlfriend and keeps running into trouble because of this, that, and the other, and it might be helpful. But connecting to this man in the dig, he has the most amazing marriage where when he's on this dig, he's digging on the property of a very wealthy, fragile, dying, beautiful young woman. And he loves her. You can tell he does. And she loves him. Nothing's ever done about it. But when the wife shows up to visit, she says to him, "Oh, I can see how taken you are with her." Jealousy, she observes it. And he doesn't comment. I don't remember that he comments. But she says, it's probably better I go back to where I live, back home, which is some distance away, and you continue this and you follow through. And at the end, it's obvious that the young woman whose land the dig is on is truly dying, and he would be very helpful and useful there. And the wife returns only to see that and say, "Why don't you stay here until this is taken care of, and then come on home?" It's the most gorgeous example of a truly loving relationship, and you can tell that they love each other in that way, where there's a lot of freedom. And there's humor, and there's a little bit of angularity here and there. It isn't like this pie in the sky, beautiful thing, but it's just a wonderful example of a relationship that Alain was talking about. I think he was talking about. And it reminded me, too, of Andrew Wyeth.
Well, you're the second person who's recommended it to me, so I'm sure I'll watch it in the not-too-distant future. And
Okay.
I realize we're down to the end of our hour, so thank you so much for calling again. It's always good to hear from you. And